Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Red-Rupee here, getting ready for another episode of VindicareX featuring John War 2 Retribution. Here we are today, looking at Green Tooth Gorge and the ancient abandoned ruins within it. We're going to do a high-level game today. We got a couple of my favorite players here. We got Texaneous, simply as Tex today, as our red Eldar Warlock, and we've got VindicareX, an obviously high-level Space Marine player, as our also red Blood Raven Force Commander. So I guess we'll have a battle of the reds here on Green Tooth Gorge. I've been wanting to do a cast with Texaneous for a while. He's one of my favorite players to watch replays of. Always a fun, well-mannered player, and just generally on top of innovative uses for units and build orders and things along that line. And being a Space Marine player myself, obviously VindicareX I'm also a big fan of. So I look forward to watching and analyzing the play here. Of course, we start off with the Warlock hitting his fleet of foot, probably going for the center wreck right here, and getting some early center map control, as Eldar always does. Being a quicker race, much quicker than Space Marines certainly. They're going to always be pushing the map control here. Got some witty banter happening back and forth here between two players that obviously have played together a lot and know each other pretty well. Now we got Banshees walking in on this Force Commander. We'll see how that works out. One quick special attack. He popped his battle cry, and you can see Tex just wants nothing to do with that. He's going to juke around for a while and come back later. Meanwhile, the Warlock is just going to push those VPs. And as we can see now that Battlecry is worn off, the Banshees are going back with a vengeance, getting a nice special attack there. The Force Commander is going to have his work cut out for him here. But he decides to go ahead and back off, not looking to take on 5 chicks at once. It's a bit much for any man. Meanwhile, we've got the Force Commander pushing back on the Warlock with his tactical Space Marines, popping some vengeance rounds here. Kraken bolts, I'm sorry. Just for the pretty red effect. Not really doing anything major damage here. Obviously red is the theme of the game today, between our red Eldar, red Space Marine, and their red Kraken bolts.
Scouts here.
VindicareX also having his scouts, getting the run around by the remaining 4 Banshees in this squad, but they're going to fall right back as soon as the Force Commander pushes in. You can see Vindicare taking back a little map control right off the bat. A little behind on power, opting to go for the second scout before popping his nodes off. Tex choosing to drop the standard 2-generator node build that we see, and going straight for the Shuriken weapon team. Shuriken's going to be great. No melee squads yet from the Space Marine. Assaults may give the Shuriken a problem, but we have 2 excellent garrisons here on Green Tooth Gorge, so that Shuriken will certainly end up being a bit of a thorn in the hide of Vindicare. 2 snipers could be a build to deal with that, but that would cost a lot of power and probably put Vindicare on the back foot. Vindicare holding on to quite a bit of wrecking power here. I'm going to guess he's going to go for Assault Space Marines, which are generally a pretty solid option against Eldar. Shuriken setting up to defend the power farm from attack bash here, but the Tax are retreating into the relative safety of this garrison right outside of Texaneous' power. Banshees, of course, still just chasing these scouts back and forth, not going to go in for the kill. Decide their time is better spent probably harassing a power farm or grabbing a victory point here. Eldar, of course, as I've always said, grabbing that map control, tearing it away from the Space Marines. Have a small engagement here between the scouts and Guardians. Meleeing, it looks like. Yep. Gonna force Vindicare's hand to decide if he wants to stay in this fight or retreat back. Of course, Vindicare's positioning, leaving the Guardians a bit undergunned. Missed grenade on that. Banshees on the other side of the field. Never good for Space Marine when you've got Banshees capping your side of the map, because it can put you in a pretty bad position if they catch you off guard. Scouts constantly capping and harassing the requisition here. It looks like these attacks are going to have to fall out of that shuriken fire. Oh, and see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. These Banshees probably going to come in, get a couple squad or model kills on this tactical marine squad. There goes one. Unfortunately, Vindicare, or fortunately for Vindicare, Tex was just a couple psychic might points short of being able to pop swift movement, which would certainly have sped these Banshees up and caused maybe another model or two off of that tac squad. Assault Space Marines not going to jump in and take any damage from these Banshees. You can see both players playing very reserved, now putting the Assault Marines in range mode, trying to pepper away at these Banshees a little bit without the loss of any hit points. Against Eldar, you really want to try to minimize any casualties. He already lost an attack model, which isn't a big deal on its own, but you don't want to lose any Assault Space Marines, and you really need to keep your map control out there as much as possible against Eldar. So any opportunity to reduce damage, like jumping away from a possible good engagement there, and then turning to fire, as opposed to just taking on the brunt force of the Banshees with the support of any other units and getting a couple models off. Scouts falling back to the little nook back here. A lot of people forget this is back here. There's a good sizable space back behind the rear rec points on this map, which allows you to kind of scoot by. It looks like these scouts are going to be in a bit of trouble. Those Banshees slashing away here. One model looks like it's going to just barely escape, but they are going to have to get out of there as the Assault Space Marines take a couple party swings and make sure those Banshees pay for their trespasses against the Emperor. Let's see what we got here. Not suffering too much of a victory point depletion, but Tex is a bit behind, which is surprising for Eldar in Tier 1. But he is, of course, pushing the tech advantage in lieu of his victory point advantage, hitting Tier 2 a good deal before Vindicare, who will be able to hit the tech button relatively soon, but is now causing a bit of a gen bash here on Texaneous. Texaneous still running around trying to keep those rec points low. Purchased both the Merciless Witchblade and the Champion's Robe for the Warlock. Gonna have him a little tankier now with that Psychic Shield, which pops right there. And the Merciless Witchblade, obviously an excellent choice against Space Marine. Warlock falling back to the relative safety in the Arc of Fire under his Shuriken Cannon. But not going to stop the harass. Going to keep the Space Marines tied up for as long as he can while he moves in the rest of his forces, and Guardians take some more of the map back for him. Unfortunately, Vindicare does have a triple cap against him right now, so his victory points are falling pretty fast. Looks like those Assault Space Marines were lucky to get out of the fight with no model losses, and Vindicare is going to go ahead and cut his losses quick and just pull back those Tactical Marines too before anything happens to them. Fleet of Foot popped on the now upgraded with a Warlock Guardian squad, and retreating into the safety of the garrison. As I was saying, these garrisons generally play a pretty big role on this map. They're just two very centrally located, very useful garrisons. That Merciless Witchblade hacking into the Force Commander in dare I say, a merciless way. And all-around harassment going on. Scouts trying to force this Shuriken Cannon off of the field by engaging it in melee, and a jump in by the assaults. He doesn't even hesitate, hits the retreat, goes ahead and pulls back. You can see just good unit awareness all around on these high-level games. You'll rarely see a squad fall to an unseen engagement. Generally, when one squad is in trouble or gets a quick nade toss or anything along those lines, warp in or jump in, these players know immediately whether to fight or flight. Looks like Tex is struggling for a little bit of map control. Vindicare's pretty much stayed on top of that, and now has a Plasma Devastator. Tex running surprisingly light on units here. I'm not sure what he's going for. At this point, considering his wreck and power income, I can only assume we're going to see a Wraith Lord on the field soon. Vindicare just going straight aggressive with a front line here and putting a Plasma Devastator in the garrison next to Tex's power. Vindicare really been holding the aggression this entire game, holding the map, pushing Tex back at every opportunity. Force Commander getting all the bling right now, pulling his teleporter pack, holding his power fist and his armor of alacrity for speed and sprint bonus. Really ready to tackle any threat at this point. Assault Marines also getting decked out. Melta bombs and their sergeant. He probably knows, he hasn't seen any tier 2 units, but most high players can keep track of each other's resources relatively easily. He's got to know that either a Falcon or a Wraith Lord is going to be on the way here. Because as I said, Tex has yet to purchase any tier 2 units. An excellent special attack by the Warlock, knocking all the Space Marines to their backs, but it looks like he is going to have to get out of there. He's probably hoping for maybe another model loss here, but he's not quite going to get it. Retreating just barely within an inch of his life. Looks like he is going to get out of there so long as they don't get one more swing in here. But 23 HP, pretty low. Oh, and the Altark dropping, taking out that Plasma Dev. Tex says no thanks to the power harass. He did get the capture, but and of course Vindicare is going to pop that node and make Tex work a little bit to earn that back. Force Commander's probably not going to be able to deal with the combined melee force here, but ooh, he's putting himself in a bit of a position. Oh, and a teleport out. Not even a problem. No need to worry about getting out of position when you have a teleporter pack on your back. Tactical Marines moving in. While Tex tries to take back his side of the map, he really needs to get that power back or he's going to be on the back foot pretty harshly here. The Altark, of course, will be a great help. The Guardians trying to break this node but get interrupted by the Tactical Marines. Vindicare just not giving Tex a moment's rest to regain any sort of map control here. Sniper upgrade on the scouts now, hoping to cause some additional wreck loss to the Eldar army, one shot at a time. Vindicare definitely saw the grenade coming and evacuated that garrison right off the bat. You can see Vindicare also floating a lot of resource. Not sure if he's just content with his play right now and holding out for something. Oh, there he goes, popping straight into tier 3. Not even hesitating on that. He knows he's got pretty solid engagement as far as map goes. Again, scouts falling back to this garrison. Tex knows he may as well pull out of that, doesn't want to take any attrition for no reason. Probably not going to beat the Force Commander and the Scouts with both of them firing and causing damage on his squads. That's another thing to take note of in these higher level matches, is both players know exactly when to pull out of a match or stay and fight and cause the maximum amount of wreck and power bleed through model kills. You rarely see any models go down when it wasn't necessary. See, again, he knows to just back off, no need to push in when he knows there's a suppression platform there, and just have a not long, drawn-out, ranged battle with these Guardians. Meanwhile, we've got the Assault Space Marines duking it out with the Altark, and deciding to pull out knowing that the Banshees can't be far behind. Those ladies like to stick together.